It was supposed to be the happiest day of the year for 12-year-old Daniel Myers, a school field trip to the Blue Ridge Mountains. Laughter filled the bus, cameras clicked, teachers called roll, but by sunset, Daniel was gone. No one saw him leave. No one saw him return. And for 10 long years, there was silence, until a hiker stumbled on an old, dirt-covered journal wedged between two rocks deep inside a cave, and what it contained changed everything. Daniel was the quiet kid, kind-hearted, observant, often lost in thought. He lived in a small Georgia town, raised by a single mom, Melissa, who worked 2 jobs and still managed to show up for every PTA meeting and every school play. The field trip to the Blue Ridge Mountains was something Daniel had been excited about for months. He'd packed early, brought his sketch pad, and told his mom he couldn't wait to see the waterfalls. But that excitement would vanish with him somewhere between the trailhead and the clearing. His disappearance made headlines. Search parties covered over 60 square miles. Drones scanned the trees. Dogs caught a scent, then lost it near a ravine. Rumors began to swirl. Had he fallen? Was he taken? Or did Daniel walk away? No body. No note. No answers. The years that followed left the town haunted. Daniel's mother never moved, kept his room the same, and spoke about him in the present tense. Then, a decade later, almost to the day, Jacob, a retired park ranger turned nature photographer, was hiking off trail when he heard something odd. Not an animal, not a bird, just the wind brushing against paper? Tucked inside a cave, hidden behind an overgrowth of moss, was a weather-worn backpack. Inside, a water bottle, a flashlight, and a journal. It was Daniel's. His name was written in faded Sharpie on the first page. The pages were fragile and the ink blurred, but one message was clear. If someone finds this, please tell my mom I tried. The journal entries began days before Daniel vanished. He had written about feeling watched, even during school hours. He mentioned a man in a green cap, always at the corner of the street, or by the school fence. Then came the final entries, written in shaky handwriting. He wrote that during the trip, he left the group trail to sketch a wild deer he saw in the distance. Then he couldn't find his way back. He described building a shelter, finding water, and even hearing voices in the night, only to discover they were coming from a portable radio left by someone. But here's where it got eerie. In the last few pages, Daniel described hearing someone calling his name, not from the search party, but from someone who knew details only he and his mother would know. He suspected someone was luring him deeper into the woods. He wrote about hiding, about running, and then nothing. The last page simply read, "He found me." When authorities traced the area where the journal was found, they discovered signs of an old, makeshift camp. But they also found something far more disturbing: tools and a torn piece of cloth that didn't belong to Daniel's school uniform. This reopened the case. Eyewitnesses from 10 years ago came forward. A former maintenance worker claimed to have seen a suspicious man near the trail that day, but was never questioned. DNA from the cave matched a name already in the system, linked to previous child abduction attempts in the region. Melissa finally received some closure. Though her son's fate remains uncertain, the journal brought pieces of him back. A memorial was set at the entrance to the trail where he vanished. The journal now rests in a glass case at the local library, a reminder of a boy who didn't just vanish, but tried to survive. And somewhere in the shadows, one question still lingers: what really happened in that cave?